And just to start off with school safety and security, how is your district creating a safe environment for students and staff to work in this year?
The safety of our students and staff is our number one priority. We want to make sure each and every day that when parents drop off their children that they feel that they're safe and being watched over and secure. We've upgraded our lockdown procedures this year to do them more often. We have secure vestibules in our schools and a great relationship with our local police department. So, we've definitely paying very close attention to that, as that is a top priority.
And kind of without revealing any compromising procedures, what kind of actions are taking, say, if an intruder does come into the building?
And obviously, we're going to be in a situation where we're going to lock down the building and follow our appropriate procedures and practices that we have in place. Number one would be to getting the authorities and police in as soon as possible. And number two, obviously, keep our both of them safe at all times, but getting the police follow their procedures that we practiced and make sure that our kids are safe.
And you kind of touched on intruder safety plan. When was that last revisited and updated? Do you guys revisit that yearly, monthly? How does that work for you?
We're constantly reviewing it. I don't want to put a timetable on correcting things that we know we should fix. So in order to do it right, when we see something that needs to be changed, we change it immediately.
And do teachers go through any sort of safety training?
We are. We're currently doing it school by school and have a process and schedule in place to hit every building this school year. So that's one thing that our practice we're putting in place for the 22-23 school year.
And drills are obviously a huge part of training and preparing for those certain situations. How often do you do drills such as tornadoes, a school intruder lockdown, fire drills?
We have them scheduled throughout the year, but we've upgraded this year to have the intruder drills to be monthly. That way we're getting that practice in the event that one of these situations happen, that we have more experience in dealing with it.
And has any staff expressed any concerns about school shootings happening, and particularly maybe about the safety of the district in the wake of all these recent shootings?
I think it'd be always a concern of the staff and parents that, what are we doing to make sure that, they're secure at all times. So we listen to any feedback or that they have in ways we can ensure and make it better, and then when they do give us that feedback, to act on it.
And how does this make you feel personally as an educator, just that you have to focus so much time and effort on the safety aspect of things rather than focusing your time on educating children?
I think it's, nationwide it's a concern, whether you are in a school or in a library, a church, a mall. All those things are going on in different areas, so I think we always have to be aware and make sure that we're protecting our kids and staff, no matter what profession we're in.
And does JC Schools have a plan in place if an intruder is on school property during after school hours, such as when school sports is happening?
Yes, we do have a plan in place, and I don't want to get into too many details on it.
And how many school security guards or SROs do you have during a school day? Does that vary by school? How does that work?
It depends on the school. We do have buildings covered throughout the district, but again, exactly where they are, I don't want to get into specifics.
And what is their training requirement to become an individual that is dealing with security?
Obviously, they go through their normal police training, but also do training as far as working with kids in school. So it's kind of twofold, where they're, a little bit different setting when you're in a school versus on the street. So they have their normal police training, but also working with children in schools.
And are a lot of them former officers or current officers?
They are current officers with Jeff City Police Department.
And kind of moving into the Uvalde report a little bit, the Texas Committee report referenced teachers who frequently didn't comply with their locked classroom door policy. saying that sometimes teachers would use rocks to prop open exterior doors or door stops and wedges. And then the Uvalde School District had its policies, but obviously some teachers didn't follow that according to the report. How do you ensure that your teachers are following those safety procedures in place?
I think we've met with our principals and building administrators to make sure those things aren't occurring, as far as propping doors open when you go out to recess and things of that nature, and then we have to follow up on it. So the more visible the administrator is, or even central offices in schools, to kind of fix some of those problems if they are going on, more practice people have with doing those things, the better we'll get.
And you kind of touched on this a little bit, but do you guys do regular compliance spot checks?
We do throughout the district. We have Frank Underwood, who's our head of security and facilities, and he has a team that goes out and checks, but also, like I said, central office, building administrators, everybody is kind of all hands on deck to make that a priority.
And if you feel comfortable on it, what's your door policy for classrooms? Do teachers have to have their doors locked, or can they have them propped open during the school day?
They have the ability to lock all doors, classroom doors in the district throughout the day.
And it was known to many individuals that room 111, one of the rooms where the shooter entered, had a lock issue on the door. How quickly is a maintenance order processed when dealing with door locks, or does it depend on the severity of the maintenance issue on how it's processed?
Well, you have to look at when the report comes in, when it's filed, we have a system in place where it's a computerized system, and they process requests as they come in. As you know, there's probably part issues throughout the country and things of that nature when we deal with construction, but as soon as we can get something fixed, we'll get it fixed.
In the report, it says that teachers and staff used a system called Raptor to notify of any threats on campus or near school grounds, and that employees were alerted, but sometimes they didn't always receive the alerts because there was poor Wi-Fi coverage or phones were turned off. Do you have an alert system set in place for teachers? We
have a system set up within the school building to alert them if there was an emergency.
And then do you also have a system in place to notify parents, say if there was a lockdown or an emergency at school? We do, very similar to a snow day alert or messaging system that goes out, and we practice that. We will be actually doing our upcoming school year drill to make sure everyone's information is correct in our system. And how can parents sign up for that? They can access it through their campus portal, which is they can get through their student account. And talking about school threats, how does Jefferson City Schools handle threats? Does it make a difference if it's on social media or if it's an in-person threat? We take all threats seriously. I mean, we can't have the ability to rank threats. So if someone makes something of that nature, then we take it seriously. We get the cops involved immediately, and we explore what's going on. And where can students or parents submit tips to the district if they hear about something or see something? They can email the district, they can call the district, their building principal, teacher, local police. We're constantly in contact with one another. And kind of moving on to the mental health aspect of the interview. Recently, the Biden administration announced 2 new actions to strengthen school-based mental health services and address the youth mental health crisis. So obviously that's an important aspect to this administration, but what are the current mental health resources available to your students currently? We've actually upgraded this school year. We've partnered with a new organization that'll provide additional mental health services, particularly in our middle schools. We feel we have a need. We're seeing more of a need there over the last couple of years, so we've enhanced our services in those areas, and we do appreciate all the help we've gotten from our governor and commissioner with funding for those counselors. And you mentioned you've been seeing a need in that middle school. Can you talk about maybe what type of need specifically? Maybe are you seeing a rise in anxiety with teens, or maybe depression? Can you speak more to that type of need?
I think all of that. I think as kids are coming out of the pandemic, that there's always that struggle that they've gone through, and as we become more alert to people's mental health throughout America, I think that's something that we want to continue to improve, not only for students but staff.
And can you talk about, do you have resources for staff available as well?
We do. We have a support system in place that we can help them and get them to counseling if needed.
And as an educator, how have you seen a change in the need for mental health, say, in the last 10 to 15 years?
I think as we become more aware of what kids go through and people go through in general, I think that focus of, if you're not in a good space mentally, how can you learn? So we've been looking at that, ways to assist our kids and our staff and get them the resources that they need to succeed and become a champion.
And kind of touching on guidance counselors, how long does it take for a student to get a meeting with a guidance counselor, say if they came in on a Monday morning and needed to see a guidance counselor, say for mental health reasons?
We have counselors in every building, some more than others depending on the population, so I would feel it would be immediately if a kid was in crisis.
And how are you following up with these students, and how are parents involved in the process? Say a student comes to their guidance counselor and says that a kid in class is bullying them. Are the parents involved in that type of situation?
Yeah, we want to get the parents involved to obviously let them know what their child is experiencing, but also let them be part of the solution with us. They know their child better than we do, but we can work together as a team and strengthen their experience here at school. That's the goal.
And what's the impact of a child's home life on their school life?
I mean, obviously, we want to be partners. I mean, that's the main goal, is having that true relationship that we work together to get that child better each and every day, learning, successful, and when they're through their K-12 experience here, that partnership has them successful and ready either for college, the workforce, the military, any of those things. That's the goal. So the importance of it, that's the one of our main goals.
And kind of turning to COVID-19 now, Cole County is currently in a low COVID community level. What's your current COVID-19 procedure if a student or staff member would test positive for COVID during the school year?
We follow our normal procedures. Obviously, they would stay home while they were infected. But I think we're in a much better place than we were to start this school year than we were last when you're looking at the numbers. So we'll follow the procedures to stay home when you're sick, and then you'll come back. But as far as the quarantining and things of that nature with people around it, that's a little bit of a change.
And say little Timmy tests positive in his third grade class, would you notify the parents of the other students in that class if a student tests positive?
We would, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
No, we don't do that.
We don't do that anymore, yeah.
Okay.
My fault.
Just the contribution piece.
Okay. Would you be able to just word that for the camera?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, my fault.
That's okay. No worries. If you need any clarification,
Yeah.
Feel free during any point. Say if little Timmy tests positive in his third grade class for COVID-19, would the other parents of the students in that classroom be notified?
We would not. We would obviously, if there were, if anybody was in jeopardy, we would, work with those families. But as far as, notifying the whole classroom, no.
And what is your current masking policy?
We are not requiring masks in the district. Obviously, if parents and students feel comfortable wearing them, they're more than welcome to, but it is not a requirement.
And say if COVID cases would rise to a high community level, would JC schools reevaluate their COVID-19 plan and procedures?
We review, it with our local board and make decisions where appropriate.
And kind of talking to staffing, I know you guys had a huge addition to teachers recently. Could you
Sure.
just touch a little bit about that?
Yeah, we're super excited for the beginning of the school year. Over 100 new teachers that we welcomed here this week for training. So there's a different type of energy in the building. I think good days are ahead, with the culture of championship people in our district.
And how else is the staffing looking like? Or do you guys still have opening spots for teachers? Are you looking to hire maybe custodial staff? Is there any need that you currently have?
We're always looking for good people, so I'd encourage them to look at our website, jcschools.us, and like I said, any position, if they want to work with kids and make this place a better place, we'll take a look at them.
And how are your current class sizes this year compared to last year?
Around the same, and depending on the school building and enrollment and subject area, but we try to keep them in a reasonable, ratio, student to teacher ratio, but around the same.
Do you know off the top of your head what that number would be, or in a range?
It depends on the grade level. So you could have advanced placement courses with 8 in a section, and you could have an Algebra 1 general course in the upper 20s.
And how large is your district off the top of your head?
A little bit over 8,000 students, and hopefully we're growing each and every day.
And I would say, is there anything else that you would feel be important to add and share with families and students ahead of the upcoming school year?
Yes, that we want to partner with them to give their children the championship experience. And we talked about being the district of champions, and not only being that in the classroom and in extracurriculars, but also in the community. So we're excited for the 22-23 school year. We can't wait for it to get here, and we have our jump start days next week, where in grades K, 6, and 9. So we encourage parents whose kids are going through those transitions to give their kids an advantage and be here next week, and then jumpstart the school year with them in those grades. And then Monday we will see them back here, and again, super excited for a great start.
And could you touch a little bit on what exactly Jumpstart is? Is that preparation ahead of the school year?
Yes, so the all new kindergarten students, and you can imagine those parents on the first day on Monday the 22nd, we're trying to give them a little bit of an introduction to what kindergarten would look like. Or if you're going from an elementary school to middle and 6th grade, having those students in a day early, and then the 8th grade transition to 9th grade when you're going to high school, another big jump, having them in a day early to get to know the building, their teachers, the procedures that are in place, so that way they're not lost on that first day or anxious.